Hey devs, I'm Coach Matt, and I help front-end engineers get the job they want. Today I want to build our own version of react-typist, actually a simpler version. And all I need our version of this to do is write a line, backspace everything, write another line, backspace, and then just do this forever. So I think our state management is going to be relatively complex. So instead of using a functional component, I want to just use a class-based component. Okay. Let's have this taken a prop for all the lines to render. And for now, let's just get it working super basic. Render the first line as a span. Okay. I don't need any of this, so let's just do typer lines equals lines. And wait for that to update. I'm using Next.js, by the way. Typer lines is lines. Lines is not defined. Right. Okay. So I think we can just live in here for a little while. State. What state do we need? So there's going to be an index for the current character, wherever the caret is, the cursor. Line index. And then we'll also need to know which line we're on, which I think actually maybe this is a better name for that. So we'll have, this will be the index of the line, and then we'll have maybe a character index. What else? So it starts from nothing and types everything and then goes back. So I think we probably need a direction. Let's call it just a Boolean forward. What am I doing here? This is an object, literal. This needs to be 0, 0, and forward will just default to true. Okay. So let's get this rendering where it types just the first line, doesn't backspace or anything. That's all we need to worry about now. So let's maybe say const type delay is 50. Let's have a function that's going to do all of the logic depending on our state. Step seems like a good function name for that. I'll make this an array function so that the lexical this keyword is preserved. I don't have to use bind. We want the lines. Let's just grab all of these for now. Line index forward equals lines line index. Okay. So I guess if there's a character to, okay, well, no, regardless, let's assume there is a character that we can type. So let's just say this dot state, this dot set state character index, index +1. And then we will conditionally say if cur line dot length. Don't want to do Yoda typing or Yoda comparisons. character index less than this. So there's still characters to type. Then we'll just say set timeout this dot step and then type delay. Okay. Right. So the whole point of this, we have character index line index. I guess I could have the get current line be a helper function. Let's just say, yeah, lines, line index dot substring 0 character index. And then text. Right. We need to call step to begin with. Did mount list.step. And I might need to, okay, I don't need to refresh. Oh, cool, that works, great. There's some styling stuff we need to work through, but that seems to be good enough for now. What else do we need? Let me get rid of that. So we can have it backspace, I guess. Let's have another delay for const first backspace delay. And I think I did 1500 before. So this will be the delay before we hit our first backspace. Right, so then this is really only what's happening. We're only doing this if we're going forward. Actually, yeah, okay. So if, okay, let's do this. Let's make this let, and then we'll just say character index plus equal to 1. Get rid of that. Line index forward. So if character index is, well, yeah, is less than cur line dot length, we do that. Wait, what did I get rid of? Okay. Want to hold on to that too. So just type one character. Okay. So then there's also, we need to take into consider if we're going, we need to consider if we're going forward or not. If forward, I need to optimize my editor settings. Okay, so if we're going forward and there's a character to type the character. Otherwise, we're done and it's time to go backwards. So what we can do is we can say forward equals false. And then set timeout this dot step first backspace delay. And so here we could assume forward is falsy. In this case, actually the value false. And we can do, yeah, so first backspace. Well, we're not actually backspacing here. So switch, go backwards. And for now, let's just always say character index minus equal to 1. And then we'll use the same delay here. So we wanted to type the first line and then backspace and get rid of the first line. Okay. So for now, maybe let's just give this block display so it has its own line. Okay. So now when we get all the way back to 0, our state is going to be with the current index, the character index is going to be 0 and forward is going to be false. So let's say if character index is greater than 0, we delete a character. Otherwise, go to the next line. We'll say begin typing next line. So forward is true. And well, we don't really need to change the character index. So do we want a different delay for when we start typing? I think we do. Const first character delay is, say, 600. Begin typing next line. We don't actually change the line index, but this should loop, and it does loop. Cool. Line index plus equal 1. Well, then you're going to get an out of bounds error. So I could do the modulo here, but then if the lines ever change, if the props ever change, maybe our component will have fewer lines, and then our current line index will be out of bounds. So actually, yeah, let's just for now assume this component, assume the props won't change. All right, so line index equals line index plus 1 modulo lines.length. So when we get to when we go past the last line, we restart at 0. Going back to school, joining a boot camp. Awesome. So that's working. We just have some styling issues. Whoops. Right. Okay. So hero old way, this isn't needed. And then this whole component really isn't needed. Let's remove react-typist from our package JSON, rerun yarn so that we get an updated lock file. Okay, right, so this is my home.js. Don't mind all of the ugly notes here and there. So how is so the styling is different now. Let me just figure out what I did to get the styling working. Home.typist. Okay. So there's a class where I do this. Display inline block with okay. I'll just call it hero typing. Not the best naming, but I'll live with that. And let's just make this slightly more generic and have this take a class name. As a property. Actually, that's the only prop that it takes. I'll just leave it on one line. So I'm going to be a little bit tidy here where I'll do class name or empty string because I believe, oh crap, I deleted the text. Okay. Okay, so yeah, it has an empty class here, but then if I get rid of this, since we're not currently passing in a class name to typer.js, it might say class equals undefined. Maybe that's been fixed. Typer, go here, span. Oh, okay. I guess that's been tidied up. Cool. It used to say, span class equals the string undefined. So that's nice to know. Okay. I guess there also was a little caret. Could we just do that? We could animate it. Okay, yeah, we need to hero typing. We need to pass in that class name. Yeah, let's just okay. Let's leave this file intact. Lines is that. Okay. So we don't have the color. Let's just give it the highlight class as well. So my CSS isn't really following the best patterns, but that works. Okay. So we fixed the display. Now, let's see if we can get the caret in. Okay, so that should at least have a pipe at the end. Oh man, sloppy. Okay. I mean, I could just, I don't know why I'm trying to do that with CSS. That's silly. Okay, whatever. Let's just type it in here. And then what we want to do is okay. Let's make some keyframes. Blink, let's say 50%, opacity 0. And transition, what is it? Animate blink. 1 second. I always mix this up. I need to use like a linter or something to help me with my CSS. Okay. Let's just look up a basic animation. Pulse, 1 second, infinite. Well, wasn't even a valid CSS line to begin with, let alone the right keywords. Okay. Animation, was it animation or animate? Pulse, 5 seconds, infinite, and then keyframes, pulse. Oh my God. Okay. So that looks decent. Maybe we can have the pulse animation be a little more snappy. So we can look up custom easing functions. Or we could change our keyframes. Well, okay, I'll just use this, it's fine. Oops. So there's pretty often CSS shorthands that will handle multiple properties in one line. And I was looking for the right way to arrange this in the animation role, but did not find it. So yeah, let's go back to the ease in out. It's still not as snappy as I would like. So right now there's an implicit opacity of 1 at 0% and 100%, but let's narrow that window a little bit to say 20% or yeah, 30%. Opacity 1 and then 70%. So now this should be a lot snappier. Yeah, I think that works. I think that's good enough. Okay, well that's it. That's really it then. Thanks for watching. I hope you found that helpful. If you'd like to see more like this, I encourage you to subscribe. This is a new channel, so any subscription really helps me reach a wider audience. If you're interested in mentorship, you can sign up for a 45-minute chat with me below. At the end of these 45 minutes, you'll have a better idea of a bunch of areas of improvement for you to work on. I like to bucket these into easy wins as well as bigger areas. So some easy wins For example, for me today, if this was an interview, it would have been good for me to refresh myself on CSS animations. I know that's an area that I'm not that familiar with, and I knew that I was working on that going into this, but I didn't prepare beforehand. Something a lot of other people do if they have non-traditional backgrounds is they might not be explaining that in the best way, especially if there's a gap in their work history. And then also interview strategy. So asking good clarifying questions. For example, can we assume valid input? Imagine you're given a question that's, say, you're given a 2D array and each cell is 1 or 0. So I didn't count the number of islands. Well, what is an island? What does it mean for an island to be on the border? Can an island have a hole in it? Can an island have water inside of it? Do we still consider that to be an island? Asking those clarifying questions to make sure to demonstrate to the interviewer that you are really thoroughly thinking about the question at hand. And the bigger areas to work on are generally person to person, but there are trends, especially with newer engineers in the web space. So there's a lot of moving pieces, especially if you're working with React. You have JavaScript and JSX and CSS and inline styling potentially all in the same file. So if you're not really rock solid on how all of those syntactic elements fit together and the separation of concerns between those languages, then it can really slow you down during an interview and development too. Yeah, what I like to do is build up a rock solid foundation and then also identify those bigger areas for improvement. And that's what I do in these sessions. These sessions also really help people in their interview performance. I do mock interviews and I've been doing these for quite a while. Done over 1,000 hours of interviews and mock interviews and training. So definitely noticing trends. Yeah, so if that's something you're interested in, check out the link below, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.